Alright, keeping this going, I salvaged some pieces from my other cube so that I could build this second block and show you what it is that you're doing on your second step. So the first step is building this first block. The next step will be building this block. So this is what it'll look like when it's completed. So for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scramble up just those pieces on that side using little r's and u's and r's to do so. I'll just kind of stop wherever. So the first thing that I want to do now is, obviously in my finished product is going to be green on this side with red in the front, orange in the back, white on the bottom. So I'm just going to take a quick examination of the cube and see the easiest way to start pairing these pieces up and inserting them where they belong. Anytime you have a piece that's actually the correct orientation on its side, kind of saves you a step. So a lot of times it's good just to find an edge or a corner that have the correct orientation with this green side. So basically green facing out to the right. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to work with this green-orange piece. So the ones that I'm looking for is the green-white-orange corner and then the green-white edge. And I'm going to find ways to get these guys paired up. So easiest way is to get the green side pointing out. Now what I need to do is I need to get this green-orange piece to match up with this green-orange piece. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. I'll try to keep it a little bit of an angle here. Thing to note is in Roux, basically now what I can do is death grip this side. It will not need to move ever again. I can do all the rotations and everything I need to do from this perspective all the way to the end of the solve without necessarily needing to do any cube rotations unless a CMLL requires it. So here we go. I'm going to store this piece on the top and match it up with this piece. Just like that. Okay? Now the next thing that I need is I need to get the white and green right here. So I simply find the white and green piece, which is here, and I'm going to show you guys something interesting. Rather than just moving this out of the way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little r, and I'm going to get this guy basically stored in the back. I can store these pieces here or here without influencing their solve state. So from here what I have is, if you take another quick look, there's my green-white edge. I'm basically going to point the green side out. Now what I want to do is I want to match up this block and this block. So the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to store these two pieces on the top layer. So I'm going to take these two pieces, I'm going to store them on the top layer. I'm going to cycle these 180 degrees and then pair them back up. And then that would lead to the last two edges that I'm trying to actually get solved, which are these two here. Some unique scenarios take place. So since this one's already in its place, I have a number of different options that I can do. So I'm going to show you a couple different ones that you can do here. The first thing that I can do is I can break both of those out up onto the top layer. And for what it's worth, I can actually leave it in that orientation. So free these guys up. And now what I want to do is I want to get these guys correctly paired together. So this is still my top layer. Just to make it easier to see, we'll do that. So this is my top layer. So what I'm going to do is, by looking at this, because both of these are red, I can see that these pieces are on the correct side of the cube to each other. In other words, the corner does not need to be back here. It needs to be on this side. But in order to pair them up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice him out of the way, move this corner to here, and then slice this guy back up. And that just simply looks like this. Okay? So now what I need to do is I need to insert this block into this position. So that's just simply an RU prime, R prime. So let's break apart that block again. Hopefully this part doesn't run too long. I do want to give you guys lots of good examples to work with on this. Okay, so I got mud, essentially. There's really not a lot going on here. Pieces pinned together and some interesting things happening. So let's just start with this. I'm going to pair up these two pieces together because that's really easy to see. So where these pieces are going to pair together at is with this corner here and the edge here. So I'm going to slice him out of the way, put my corner back here, and then pair those two guys together. I'm going to give myself kind of a free move by bringing this piece to the top. And then I'm going to get my orientation so that these guys are facing out. Now what it's going to allow me to do by getting this piece to the top first is now I just simply do a little R to get this guy out of the way, so to get him dropped down one more layer. Sorry, I gotta be more mindful of the camera position here. So I'm going to get these guys out of the way, and I'm going to put him in the correct orientation in a single move. So I'm going to do that. So these are the two pieces that I'm working with, this center and this edge. So now I'm just going to do something very similar to what I did before, which is these two pieces and these two pieces. I need to get him flipped around to the other side. So I'm going to do that by storing those two pieces on top and then catching them and then bringing them back down into position. A thing to note here is that so long as you have a white pointing up, the Roux method will not allow you to pair those pieces up until his orientation actually changes. So a good orientation, so basically it's 2 out of 3. A good orientation is either the green to the top, the orange to the top, but not the white. So what I need to do is I need to change his orientation. So there's a number of things that I can do, is basically use my free slot like you would do in Friedrich, and I can get him changed by doing that. So we're going to leave it like this for a second. What I want to do is I want to pair up these two pieces. So by looking at this edge, if I leave the edge where it's at, this piece would actually pair up correctly in this corner, if you guys can see that. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that move. I'm going to get him out of the way and then pair up those two pieces. Now what I need to do is I need to insert these pieces into this slot here. So the first thing I'm going to do in this scenario is actually get this block where it belongs. And here's an interesting one. So how do I now get him into place here? Well, since I have control over that center, because there is no orientation for the centers yet, what I'm going to do is a little R prime and then drop that piece in. So that would be him. So there's a number of ways that you would actually insert blocks. One of them would be like this. So if I want this block to be inserted into this layer, I would do that. Okay. Another orientation that I can have would be like this. So after I, let's say, pair up these two pieces during a solve, well, now I can't just turn him because I'd be kicking out my blues, and I want that death grip still on the blue-white side over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little R. Will allow me to put him in place. Let's do one more. And there's always a case in a scenario in which you can do any of the moves you need to do without, no, it's hardly even scrambled, without doing any rotations of the cube in your hand. It can all be done from this single perspective. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Okay, not too bad. What I'm going to do is, by looking at this is my green, orange, white, and then my green, white. I just need to get these two pieces flipped around to be paired up with this piece here. So there's that one. At the same time that I did that, you'll notice that this piece was ejected from this side. So that's the next piece that I want to put in, which is going to be right here. So I'm going to do that by doing a little R, getting my orientations the right way, storing these pair on top, catching those pair. There's him. Once again, I have the white facing up, which I'll have no control of as far as inserting the piece correctly over to here. So let's just do this because I kind of want to show you guys something funky that exists in Roux, which is kind of neat. Interesting because of the freedom of not having solved centers of where you can actually pair pieces up at. So for example, I can pair up those two pieces here, and then this is a fun little fancy move that I found for when this piece is pinned in this corner, is I'm going to eject both of those pieces and then solve both of those pieces. And yeah, I kind of want to keep each one of these steps under 10 minutes, so hopefully that will give you some incentive to work with as far as the second block. I can do one more here. We do this one kind of quick just so I can take advantage of the video time here. Okay, let's see. Don't really have a ton to work with except those two guys. I want to get this green-orange piece into this position. Once again, I have the white totally on the wrong side. So I either need to free him out, or here's one that you guys will be familiar with from Friedrich, which is to getting these two inserted. Okay, so just a couple examples of how to be able to insert these blocks without any rotations. Stay tuned for part 3.